Good Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist Brooke Martell. We now have a heat advisory going into effect at 10 o'clock for the mountains and the inland valley communities. I'll have more details on that in just a minute, but the excessive heat warning, this continues for the desert region, and the heat is just overall continuing as we look ahead to next week. Even warmer temperatures on tap compared to what we have for this weekend. So here's a look at the first alert 7 Doppler sweeping across the county, not picking up much, but satellite imagery is picking up that cloud cover, that fog that has filled in along the coastline. Even saw it extend into areas like Kearney Mesa, Serra Mesa. So for those foggy conditions, give it some time to lift and mix out before we see some more sunshine heading into your afternoon. Rip current risk is low for today. Water temperature from the upper 60s to the low 70s, so not quite as warm as how it's been. 1 to 4 feet when it comes to the wave heights, and then high tide peaking around 8:40 this morning at 3.5 feet, and then we'll have that low tide back at around noon today. Here's a look at the hourly forecast for Mission Beach. So if you're heading that way, it's going to be really nice beach day. Upper 70s around 11 through noon, and then we're expecting some low 80s up and down the coastline. So it is going to be on the warmer side. A dip in the ocean will probably feel pretty nice. If you take a closer look here, you could see that low rip current risk for the entire coastline. Wanted to show you Poway's hour by hour temperature and what it feels like. So as we get into about 10, 11 o'clock, mid to upper 80s, but it could feel a little bit warmer than that. The humidity levels aren't as high, but they're still there. So once we get into the afternoon, we're expecting some low 90s over Poway, but it actually could feel closer to those upper 90s, 96, 97 degrees. Later on this evening around 7 o'clock, close to those mid 80s, it'll feel like that. And then as we get into the rest of your evening, we'll get into those 70s and overnight hours being right around 69 degrees. Here is a look at some other details. Your daytime highs, we're close to those mid to upper 70s for the immediate coastline. We know about those low 80s for places like Mission Beach as well. 84 today for downtown San Diego, 80 degrees for IB. And then over your inland valley communities, you can see we have a bit of a mix, low to upper 90s. Certain areas like Ramona do have the potential to reach 100 degrees. We have that same range over the mountain communities, low to upper 90s. And again, that's where we have that heat advisory. We'll take a look at the details there in just a moment. 114 today for Borrego Springs. Talking about the afternoon dew point. So this is a measure of the moisture in the atmosphere. You can see we're right around those mid to upper 60s, really from El Cajon and then west of that area going towards the coast. Once we start to see that, does indicate there's moisture in the air. It's going to still feel a little bit humid for those areas. Even when you step outside this morning, you'll notice it. But here's a look at the watches and warnings. We'll start with that excessive heat warning for the desert region. This is in effect until Friday. So you can see it covers the entire desert, but then over your mountains, over your valleys. Now we have this heat advisory going into effect at 10 o'clock this morning, and this will last until 8 p.m. Monday. The temperature range here for the valleys, low 90s to about 102 degrees. Mountain communities, we're talking upper 80s to about 100 degrees. So it is going to be warm. Here is a look at that 10-day forecast. So you can see day by day, the temperatures either stay the same or they increase by a degree or two. This really goes here for the coastline. I mean, look at that. We could be right around those mid 80s for most of next week, if not all of next week, for that max daytime high. And of course, the inland valley communities. We have mid 90s to low 100s, not just through your weekend. Look at that. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we could be reaching 100 degrees. It is going to be a warm one. We have the heat advisory in effect right now for the mountains and the valleys. I would imagine that that will be extended by National Weather Service, given those temperatures that we're seeing. For the desert region, you could see 114 today, 112 tomorrow. We just stay right around 110 to 115 through that extended period. Have a great day.